Hi, I'm Daryl Johnson, and I'm here on the Damn It Daryl and Friends channel. And what I've got here for you today is 3 different Colt 1903 pocket guns. And they look very much the same except for the finishes on them. And if you get looking real close, there's some differences in several things on them. And like this one over here, I've had this one forever and modified like I wanted to because it was a parts gun. So it's got sights on it that the other two don't have, but you can see them when you want to shoot something because the early pocket pistol sights weren't much. So anyway, this one here is the oldest. This was made in 1905, and this is 2 years into the first guns. And what's unique about these guns is you will see is both of these older guns have screws here on this side, and on this one here you just have a little button sticking there. Okay, the reason for that is that holds on this safety there and the slide stop. You can see where I modified that again, and they eliminated that part because they found out they didn't need to. And as we go down through here, we'll show some of the differences in what they did to speed up production and lower the cost on these as they went along and made things easier. Okay, on this first model gun here, you will notice that the way the serrations here to grasp the slide are. They're totally different than this model here, which is the second model. Okay? And also, what they didn't know, Colt didn't know for sure yet, was that they didn't know whether Browning's patent still applied or not, so it's still on the gun. This predates it back to pre-7,000 guns. Okay, it's about 7,000, 7,500 according to the guys on the internet. Up here on the front, you'll see there's a pin here. Okay, that pin holds this little plunger in so you can take this apart like a 1911. There's a barrel bushing up here you can turn to take the barrel off. I'm not going to do that right now. It's a little bit difficult. But we will do that later if you guys want to see these things. Now this one and this one's very similar. They have the screws here. The grips are basically the same. Everything's the same except for this one. Look right there, they're a 1/4 inch shorter than the other one. And that's the second model. Okay, and that's the only really difference. Well, they did update the extractor because this is a wider extractor to grab more of the rim. This one here is a narrow extractor. It's one of the other things that's different on them. And also the markings on them don't have the Browning patent on it anymore. Okay, and then the difference between the second and the third model. Number one thing, don't have a screw here. Don't have a screw here. Have that little button to push over. But the big thing on this thing is that here on the magazines, they changed from the checkered to the straight serrations on the magazine latches. And you will see that on none of these 3 pistols do the magazines say 32 ACP. None of them do. They are not marked. You just got to know by the quality and the way they're made that these are actually Colt made magazines. And there is a difference. Let me see, some of these are actually, yeah, this is actually what they call a pinned model. This piece here is actually a milled piece that has 2 pins driven through here to hold the magazine in. That is not what they call a 2-tone magazine. That's a pre-2-tone magazine, and this is a pre-2-tone magazine, and I'm pretty sure this one is too. Yep, that's a pre-2-tone. A 2-tone magazine is what they will do is they polish off here, and this is white up here, and you can see a little coloration up here where they heat treated the feed lips to make them stronger and to last longer. And this is actually before that. And I'm not for sure exactly when they started doing that, but be careful, some people fake those. But the later model magazines will have 32 ACP, Colt 32 ACP across the bottom here. This will usually be a two-tone, and also they just look heavier than late model. Okay, yeah, that was the other thing, is that they're not pinned in, they're squished in here and welded. Okay, and they've got two little dimples. Thought I had one of those magazines here. I don't, just have my early ones. But we will show you difference and variations of the magazines as we go on. And up until later in the production, they sit here and they made these all in 32. I think it was 1905 that they started making the first 380s. The 380s are much harder to find, and good barrels. That's one of the things I want to say, is it barrels on these things. It's hard to find a good barrel. I literally make barrels for these guns because I want good barrels in them, the original barrels. I don't shoot typically, but I make barrels for these things. I've got chambering reamers, I've got a lathe, all that stuff. I just make my own barrels and shoot them. And on this gun, this was such a messed up piece from several things. I actually dovetailed front and rear sights on them. And I used to work for a miniature machine company, so this has got a miniature machine company rear sight on it. Okay, they're out of business now, but I worked for them in the 70s till about 1980, and I milled these things out and put decent sights on it that I could see, instead of these little bitty tiny things that come on the pistols. Yeah, these aren't going to snag, but man, you can't hardly see these with old eyes like I've got. But, and if you are in the area, we are in the Hutchinson, Kansas area, and most of these things, not all of them that I'll show you and have shown you, have come out of Salt City Pond. And that's where I go to a lot. I gunsmith out of there. I have people send me stuff from all over the United States. If you need any gunsmithing, call them, they're on there. And I'm not going to give you my address and telephone number right now, but I will in the future. Okay, so you guys have a good day out there. Be safe. And do I need to say this? Black Lives Matter.